massive debt, inflation, and hatred. Thank you, Mr. President. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October the 22nd. And of course, quite the wild week on Wall Street, and quite the wild week in Israel and Hamas, and the massive amount of hatred that is being shared with all of us. Of course, the squad continues to show their disdain and hatred for the Jews and for Israel. And you have to ask yourself, why is that continued and allowed to be done when this administration has made such a big deal about taking down statues, about talking about what has happened in the past, but what is happening right in front of their very eyes is once again the attempted destruction of an entire class of people, the trying to destroy Israel, and not saying anything about the comments and the hatred and the things that are being done. The Homeland Security Administration offer on leave after the Fuck Israel post. Really, are we going to continue to let this terrorism take over? Where are the major universities that made such a big deal about President Trump and about his election and had to give days off so that people could go for counseling? Yet here we are with one of our greatest allies, okay, a small little pimple country in the middle of the Middle East, and nobody is saying a word. Even the graduates of those, Larry Summers, Obama's economic advisor, is upset about the things that Harvard are doing, but yet the elite universities don't even condemn the Hamas terrorists. I mean, can you picture what is going on here? I mean, once again, you can talk about your views of the United States being the greatest country in the world, but is this the United States that we have a racist president? And again, that is not an opinion. That is a fact. And his vice president, during the debates, called him out on these things. It is a matter of public record that every vote that President Joe Biden has ever made, that when it came to a racist issue, erred or voted on the side of racism. Okay. So we know that he hates the Jews. We know that he hates the African Americans. So yet here he is, the president, and of course doing nothing about what's going on. Of course, he does want to get more money for Ukraine. Okay. Now, why is he so hell-bent on getting money for Ukraine? Okay. There's a new proposal to get $14 billion for Israel and another $60 billion for Ukraine as a part of a $105 billion package. I don't know about you, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay. I mean, have we not given Ukraine enough money? Okay. I think that we have the continuation of just a bunch of horseshit we are being led to slaughter as we continue to watch this administration operate, the massive amount of inflation that they continue to lie about, the jobs that they continue to lie about, the lack of people being able to live for themselves that nobody wants to talk about. Well, I'm talking about it because when I watch and see the number of homeless people that are running around, when I go to a place and see that wages are being forced to price companies out of business, okay? I mean, this is a true destruction of a class of people in this country, the middle class, the small business owner, the aspiring new business owner. But by all means, let's have more laws so we can have less justice. Let's continue to let the party in power today continue to destroy what was the greatest country in the world. Let's continue to let them destroy the fabric of America, of the free enterprise and capitalism, allowing everybody to have the chance to get to the next level in their life. We have inflation that is soaring through the moon. Okay, we have the ability to create our own oil. Now, let's be very clear about one thing. If we never gave up production of our own oil in this country, we would never have had this inflation problem. We wouldn't have an idiotic Federal Reserve continuing to try to get rates or inflation down to a 2% target, which is moronic in its own right. Okay. I mean, that just shows you how dumb they actually are, thinking that they can intervene and bring down a rate to 2%. This is where the free markets truly show where we are. But the over-flooded money supply that the Fed continued to print money shows you how much they lack understanding of how a free market system works. Take a look at, for example, a couple of products out there. Orange juice at record high prices. Steak at record high prices. Okay. Yet, existing home sales dropped to 13-year lows. Oh, that brings us back near the collapse. And don't think that there's not going to be another collapse in this country, because this is kind of the grand, the grand design of this administration is to tear it down and tear apart the people by, it's the old divide so you can conquer. Have you ever seen in this country as much hatred as there is today? Have you ever seen the overall picture and destruction of this country before? You have massive amounts of illegal immigration coming in welcomely. You've got a place like the city of Chicago, that piece of shit place that it is, giving migrants $9,000 for rent assistance. Where is the right and where is the forcing people to get a job? That's what I want to know. Why are we not forcing people to work? There are plenty of jobs out there and available if people would go to work. But of course, when you have a government that makes it simple for them not to work and you can buy votes, makes pretty much sense. And now we, of course, can talk about the imbeciles on the other side of the aisle that can't even find a speaker to take over. Now, that's, again, these are issues that we as voters have to address, because once again, every great empire has failed somewhere between 200 and 300 years, and that's where we are. And if you want to fail, then sit back and do nothing, as always. If you don't want to fail, then you're going to have to get your ass off the couch and vote, and you're going to have to let your voice be heard through the voting ballots and through the not allowing a lot of the manipulation that goes on in the land of crap known as Washington, D.C. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, October the 22nd. We're going to stop out here for a break, and we'll be right back with more of Bubba's Bottom Line after the break. Well, kids, what's going on? Everything in the markets week was a little wild. We've got some interesting things to tell you when we get to our market report. But first, let's talk about our sponsors. And of course, we have a couple of brokers that sponsor us. And I have many brokers, just full disclosure. But the two that I prefer, and for my futures and commodities trading, it's Capital Trading Group, CTG. And look, it's very simple. When you trade futures, you want a futures broker, okay, which would be Capital Trading Group. You don't want to mix the two. Trying to mix them, they don't do any job right. But Capital Trading Group has partnered with us on a couple of projects. They had great customer service. They've been in business. They do everything perfectly for me, which is why they have 90% of my money. And of course, that's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And of course, just check it out on the side. It's scrolling down. And of course, our equity broker partner is Tradier. And again, I have other brokers, but why would I want to pay somebody else more when I could have my entire portfolio, hedging and equities, fully automated at no extra cost from trade here and just a licensing fee from through Bubba Trading for the hedging model. Okay. Check them out, try.trader.com/Bubba. It's also scrolling on the side. And of course, our high school program, it looks like we're going to be able to get it rebuilt and up and running again. If you want to help us out, go to the bottom and check us out at Patreon. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, our market report. Let's get back to it right now. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October the 22nd. And, of course, markets, what a week. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you now have the Dow and the Russell are now lower on the year, with the S&P up about 8-9% still, which I do believe that that's probably going to dissipate, and there's a greater probability that we could close lower on the year. I think the only index that will not close lower will be the NASDAQ, and I think only because it just got too big of a leap. But I think the fourth quarter looks ugly. As much as the experts, or the so-called experts, want to tell us about how everything is great and that they're going to fix it, I call bullshit. Okay, it's just a joke. It's almost laughable to listen to these morons speak. Paul Krugman, who said that we won the war on inflation at very little cost, and I guess it's all whatever you decide is very little cost. In the meantime, the equities were down again for the week, and again, this is just the start. Just don't think that it's wholesale selling, that you just go ahead and sell. Remember that markets will get a bounce probably in the next couple of days. I don't see anything to say different. I think you have to remember that markets do many different things, and they don't go straight up and they don't go straight down. But in the meantime, all four major indices were short and all four were down for the week. Pretty good week for us, as a matter of fact. And of course, the dollar index and the euro currency, we don't trade the dollar index. It's not because we have a concern about the dollar. It's simply because of the cost of trading it. Okay, so we use the euro currency. We're still short the euro. We would be long the dollar, but we don't trade anymore. But the euro currency got hammered once again. Bitcoin had a nice big week, got pushed over 30,000, came back down, but was up pretty big, and we're still long Bitcoin. Bonds and notes got clobbered. Let's keep talking about that they're going to stop hiking. They're not going to stop hiking rates. Rates are going higher. If you looked at the CPI and the PPI reports, you can see that if the morons at the Fed are going to continue to try to get to that 2% target, they got to continue to hike rates. Okay, we are still short bonds and notes. The metals had a pretty interesting week. It had some big charges higher, and of course, gold had the biggest of them all. And of course, we are long gold, long silver. We would be long platinum now, but we don't trade it anymore. Again, it's a liquidity issue. But I would expect a little bit of a pullback in gold here. Again, we're long, and I'm not telling you not to be long. I'm telling you that I expect a pullback. I think I'll get a better opportunity to buy it. Copper continues to get hammered, which makes sense because the economy sucks. But they can tell us all we want that the economy is in great shape, but the economy sucks. Copper's lower. We are still short. In the natural gas market, we're going to reverse tonight. Natural gas to short in March. I'm not so thrilled about that, but again, it's back to March, so we're going to miss the snap if there is something that goes on. Grain markets continue to be a little bit under pressure, but also they have actually run up a little bit. And as we said a couple of weeks ago, that if we had a position, we would prefer to be long, and we would definitely want to be long going into the WASDE report, and of course that worked out to be a pretty good decision. Now we were short, but I mean, just from a speculator standpoint, I assumed that the lows are probably in, and I would think that you're going to see a continuation of things that are going to happen. But at the end of the day, okay, I think that markets are in good shape from the grain markets. I think they've really done some really good work. As we look at corn, we're now long corn. We're still short beans, and we're still short wheat. But I do think those will be changing shortly. The meats cattle is ridiculously priced and way too high. We don't trade anymore, but we would be short here as it started to come down a little bit, along with hogs as well. And I do think hogs will find some buyers here, and I'll be looking, and I'll talk about it during the week. And then, of course, in the softs, cocoa was higher and we're long. Sugar was higher and we're long. Coffee we reversed to long. OJ is at record highs and we're long. And cotton we would be short now. But at the end of the day, I think you have a lot to look at, and there's a lot of issues out there. And I think the markets are in trouble. I mean, again, I think that we had the Dow and the Russell are lower on the year. I think that the S&P joins in. We'll see what it looks like. In the meantime, let us step out for our final break, come back with my commentary and my football picks right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, October 22nd. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole pitch here. Just remember, trade your brokerage, try.trader.com, scrolling on the sides. Capital Trading Group, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba on the side. And of course, our high school program. Look, I vetted these. I use them myself. These are things that I want you, because as you know, I want to be able to educate and help you get the best for yourself. And that's what I like to do. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October the 22nd. And of course, what a week. You know, this whole Israel thing's got me really upset and really shook up. And of course, we've got the squad that hates the Jews to begin with and outwardly bashing the Jews, outwardly supporting Hamas, outwardly supporting the terrorists. And where is our government? Okay, where is the protection for our ally? Okay, we've seen billions and billions and billions of dollars given away to everybody. Where's the help for the Jews? Where's the help for Israel? Okay, which you've got a whole setup of the squad out there spreading hatred. Okay, where is the outrage for Omar and for AOC and for and Talib for out there spreading hatred among everybody? I thought that was frowned upon. I find it to be very challenging and difficult that we would allow this to happen. Okay, when they made such a big deal about President Trump and how much damage that he caused. But yet here we are watching your leaders out there expressing hatred along with the major universities, Harvard and Yale, and all of these things going on, and yet mute from the White House, mute from the president. Okay, so it kind of reminds me of the China BLM movements, right? The Hong Kong, they stood mute. Okay, so it's amazing how you only hear from the leadership when they need your money or they need something else. But when you have a group of politicians bashing the Jews and bashing Israel and supporting the terrorism, it makes you kind of wonder where this country's headed. Think about it. And of course, it is Sunday, and of course, it's football time in America. We've got two plays for you today. Follow up our New Orleans play from the other night. We do like Baltimore, and we do like Cleveland this week. Have a great week, everybody. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Day Update. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.